Meet the Kodkod, the smallest cat in the Americas. The cat with the smallest range and second smallest wild population in South America, with about 10,000 individuals in the wild, and one of the lowest genetic diversities ever recorded among mammals. Everything about this cat is small, including our knowledge of it. But we're gonna change that. In this episode, we've collected nearly all the existing footage of this kitty, and even getting face-to-face with one of the few Kodkods in captivity in the world. And we're heading into the legendary Valdivian forest to see if we can find the legendary Kodkod.
We're going deep into the jungle here, and this is one of the weirdest places I've ever been to. In the best possible way. Everything looks so ancient and alien and unique.
This is the Kodkod. Hi, I'm Danielle Dufault, and you're watching Animalogic Small Cats Unknown. Today, we're looking at the Kodkod, or guinia, the smallest cat in the Americas. We're going to use those two names interchangeably, but don't worry, they mean the same thing. These pocket-sized kitties are tiny. At just 75 centimeters in length and weighing a maximum of 2.5 kilograms, they're smaller than a Chihuahua. They're part of the Leopardus genus, along with 7 other South American small cats. They have adapted to a life in a very specific corner of the world, and have evolved to be almost invisible to predators, prey, and humans. But don't let their elusiveness fool you. These cats have a deep bag of tricks, including swimming, an extremely rare behavior among wildcats. Their range, the part of the world where they live, is basically divided in two, which has resulted in 2 distinct subspecies. The northern Kodkod of the drylands and mountains of northern and central Chile is slightly larger and has a sandier-colored coat. The southern guinia, from the ancient rainforests of southern Chile, are smaller and have darker coats and a more pronounced spotted pattern. It thrives in Chiloé Island, so it gives us the best chance to see them in the wild for ourselves. This southern subspecies also has a larger number of melanistic cats. Aw, mini panthers. They're so well adapted to being almost invisible that very little is known about these cats. There's almost no available footage, and information about them is just starting to emerge. We sent our South American correspondent, Andres, to go and investigate and see how we're learning about these cats. He'll be reporting from the jungles of Chile throughout this episode. Off to you! His first stop is the habitat of the northern Kodkod, the Chilean matorral. These rugged forests are home to some of the most emblematic predators in Chile. There are culpeyos, pumas, and buzzard eagles, among other predators. It's an ecological hotspot full of amazing species, so it was the perfect spot to start our adventure.
So this is a really cool place because this is a place where mountains and valley meet. And the animals of the valley and the animals of the mountains all come here at the same time. And there's a lot of people. And like people bring food, Kodkods are going to come here to get the food from the mountains, the food from the valley, and the food from the people. And by food from the people, I mean chickens and any other small livestock they might have, which is not great for them, and is one of the issues they're facing right now because a lot of people don't like them, especially the older generation. So that's one of the main challenges we're facing here, is trying to get people to love Kodkods, even though sometimes they might eat their chickens.
Of course, Andreas is not alone in this adventure. He's following one of the world's leading Kodkod experts.
Hi, I'm Diego Ramirez from Guinia Working Group.
The Guinia Working Group is a conservation and research organization devoted to understanding the Kodkod. A lot of what we know about Kodkods comes from their trap cam footage, and finding the best place to set up the cameras is key.
We are going to put this camera tray in that tree, so we try to take some pictures of the guinia in this natural environment to try to understand a little more the ecology of this so cryptic and elusive cat.
Trap cams are the easiest way to keep an eye out on the forest. Some research projects might have hundreds of cameras spread around a small area, all hoping to catch a glimpse of an elusive species.
This is a flashlight, and this is the objective where the camera takes some pictures of anything or any animal that come in this part. The camera will take videos. That way, we can understand a little more about the behavior of the Guinea cat, to know if the Guinea cat it is present here, what kind of landscapes she uses, understand a little more about the behavior, richness, and other ecological parameters.
The sensitivity of the trap cams can be adjusted. The more sensitive they are, the more pictures they take. But it also makes it much more time-consuming to screen all the pics. Part of the difficulty in studying these cats is the sheer amount of work required to see all the pictures. Especially in ecologically busy places, you could get thousands of irrelevant pictures. But then one day, you hit jackpot. This was the case with a group of scientists who found a Kodkod den inside a dead tree. It was a mom and a single baby. This confirms other trap cam footage where it's usually a mother and a single baby. This low reproductive rate is unfortunately bad news for their conservation, but more on that later. Trap cams are part of the puzzle, but they can't tell the whole story. One of the greatest threats to Kodkod conservation is accidental trapping, which unfortunately often costs them their lives. Chile has a surprising invader. It eats a lot, carries diseases, and reproduces like rabbits. It's of course the European hare. European hares were introduced to South America in the 19th century. The plan was to give hunters an animal species that could reproduce quickly, so that there would always be enough of it to hunt and eat. But the hare is famous for two things: being quick and reproducing even quicker. And soon after they were introduced, they had spread throughout the continent. Hunters still catch them, and they often use inhumane traps called huichas. These traps tighten around the neck or leg, leading to long and painful deaths. It's really too sad to show you, but imagine a wire slowly tightening around a leg, cutting all the way to the bone. And to make matters worse, sometimes they catch other animals, like kodkods, which often die or get very injured. These kinds of traps are technically only legal for catching hares and other invasive species, but of course, native animals don't know the laws, and many fall victim to these cruel traps. Fortunately, some kodkods get rehabilitated and re-released by organizations such as Casa Noe. Casa Noe is a natural park. They rehabilitate animals throughout the year, and on some very rare occasions, they get kodkods. Rehabilitation is a tough road, but sometimes we get beautiful images like this. Or this beautiful orphaned Kodkod kitten rescued in the island of Chiloé. The baby was taken to Chiloé Silvestre, a conservation center where it was rehabilitated for 5 months, until it was old enough to be free. Then it was taken to the forest and set free. They even got multiple angles of the kitty's first leaps of freedom. It's so cute. Makes me emotional seeing those little kitties sprint into freedom after being hurt and scared for so long. But as we all know by now, not every injured animal can be re-released. Sometimes they have to be kept in captivity because their injuries would mean a death sentence in the wild.
We're in Alvarez, Chile, and we are seeing one of the few captive Kodkods in the world. This place here does an amazing job of rehabilitation. These cats sometimes come here with injuries, they fix them up, send back into the wild. Sometimes when they can't get released back into the wild, they stay here where, they'll live the best life they can. Take a look at this guy.
This is an Animalogic exclusive. Few people have ever been able to see a live Kodkod, and even fewer have been allowed to film them. There's only a handful of guineas in captivity. And though it's sad that they can't ever live in the wild again, their stories are powerful reminders of the dangers Kodkods face in the wild. The two here were victims of hair traps, and unfortunately got so injured that they wouldn't survive in the wild. One of them lost a front paw, but it doesn't seem to bother it too much. It's great to be able to see them. In the wild, you could be a stone's throw away and fully miss them. And that's good. That's their job. Kodkods are specialist ambush predators. Under the cover of darkness, a quick pounce is all that's required to secure a meal. The stripes, the quiet steps, the ability to stay eerily quiet. It's all a masterclass in stealth. In these ecosystems, the Kodkod rules with an invisible clawed thumb. East of the Andes, its closest relative, the Jeffries cat, has adapted to a wide range of habitats and prey across the grasslands, savannas, and forests of eastern South America. The relative absence of natural barriers has made it a very adaptable species. The guinia doesn't have that opportunity. Its habitat is bound by the Patagonian tundra, the Andean mountains, the Pacific Ocean, and the Atacama Desert. This cat is a dense forest specialist. But in this small pocket of land, the smallest range of all New World cats, it has established itself as one of the top predators of small prey. For the southern subspecies, the Valdivian forest is their home. This is a rainforest with cooler temperatures than other South American jungles. The Andes rise close to the Pacific, creating a high-altitude humid zone with amazing endemic life. Almost half of the wooded plant species here can't be seen anywhere else in the world. Andreas went to the Valdivian forest to look for Kodkods. Let's see if he survived. The number one spot to see Kodkods is the island of Chiloé, off the coast of Chile.
So we're in Chile now. Look at that. It actually reminds me a lot of British Columbia and Canada. It's got kind of that temperate rainforest vibe. But this place is more isolated than British Columbia. And a lot of the things that are here are nowhere else in the world. So I'm just gonna go out into the forest, see what I can find.
Finally, after a few hours of driving into the hills, the rainforest.
Okay, we're going deep into the jungle here. And this is one of the weirdest places I've ever been to, in the best possible way. Everything looks so ancient and alien and unique. You might not see it from like this angle because this camera is not meant for that, but I'll show you some of the weird things that are here. You know, places like this where you can only see a few feet ahead of you. I always think, is there a Kodkod right in front of me and I'm just not seeing it? If I just look hard enough, all those little eyes, little ears poking out behind a branch or something, you kind of start seeing it without actually being there. Because like your brain just gets so like alert about anything that remotely looks like a cat.
This is the home of incredible animals. The Monito del Monte, an odd marsupial related to the Australian branch of the family, lives among the trees. Darwin's frog and Darwin's fox, first described by the Big D himself, enjoy the humidity and cover this forest provides. Birds, like the black-faced ibis and the fire-eyed dugong, love the weather and the food that the forest serves up. There's also some of the most famous prey of the Kodkod, a little bird who spends more time on the ground than flying.
That right there is one of the most iconic birds here.
It's the tucao tapaculo, a ground-dwelling bird with a ray gun-sounding call and a fiery red chest. For any of these species, a walk in the woods is a dangerous proposition. Lurking somewhere in the shadows is the Kodkod, who's always looking for a petite dinner. But of all of them, the most striking is the largest known Kodkod meal, the poodoo.
We've been here for like 25 seconds, and we saw our first poodoo. Can't see it from here, but right there, just sitting in those plants over there. So tiny. Super cute.
Poodoos are the smallest deer in the world. they're just slightly larger than a Pomeranian. This proud mama and her adorable baby seem comfortable with Andreas filming them for a while. The baby even approached him for a split second, and his mom followed him soon after. There's a single video of evidence of a Kodkod eating a poodoo. It was taken by a park ranger, but it was impossible to tell if the Kodkod caught it or if it just happened to stumble upon a sick or injured poodoo. We'll know more about the Kodkod's diet with more research, or by miraculously running into one on a jungle trek. But unfortunately, that wasn't a miracle that would happen to us.
So we're getting to the end of the trail, and you always kind of come out feeling like, did I miss something? Was there something amazing just right beside me you just didn't see? And the answer is probably yes. There's so many things that are so good at hiding, and we're so noisy too. We're too big for these forests. But even though I didn't see a Kodkod, I'm not disappointed. I haven't been here. It's just an amazing forest. It's a magical place.
The odds were always against him. The forest is dense and massive, and there's only a few thousand small cats on an island the size of Puerto Rico. Kodkods are also mostly nocturnal and spend most of their days hiding in trees and in bushes. But it's amazing to see the Kodkod's natural habitat and the majesty of one of the most amazing ecosystems on Earth. Thanks, Andreas. Outside of the rainforest, Kodkods have been running into humans for hundreds of years. It's an encounter that usually doesn't end up well for them. Human activities in their territory are pushing them into ever smaller pockets of native forests. Farming, human-caused forest fires, habitat fragmentation, and diseases from pets have shrunk the Kodkod's habitat and population. Studies have shown that they don't even seem to like planted forests, possibly because they don't have the hiding spots and denning sites as older forests do. Other predators, such as foxes, adapt much better to these exotic forests. Kodkods need the undergrowth of the rainforest to sneak up on prey, and many of their prey do too. Less prey availability and fewer places to hide lead to fewer Kodkods. Fragmentation of their habitats has also led to very low genetic diversity in some populations. In fact, Kodkods have some of the lowest genetic diversity ever recorded in mammals. Unfortunately, their population size is shrinking. There are only 10,000 Kodkods left in the wild, in about 160 square kilometers of viable habitat. That means that in an area the size of Manhattan, there would only be about 2 guineas on average. But in the areas where they're most abundant, a male's territory is about the size of Central Park, and females occupy areas a quarter of that size. And even though there's so few of them, they still carry a negative stigma in parts of their range. Attitudes towards the guinea have historically been negative. In rural areas, especially in farming communities, these cats have been perceived at best as annoying pests and sometimes as dangerous threats. Some people even think that they could kill goats. Although, look at this little guy. You think he could do anything to a goat? Nah. To this day, close to 50% of the rural populations of southern Chile see this cat as harmful due to their effects on poultry farms. In some indigenous communities, they're even seen as bad omens. In these areas, it's not uncommon for farmers to kill guineas and keep their pelts as trophies. The good news is that there are lots of people trying to save the Kodkod, like the Guinea Working Group, who besides doing lots of work in education, are also doing lots of scientific research. The group encourages locals to participate in citizen science projects, reporting their sightings to collect as much data as possible. They also do educational projects to get people to learn to love the Kodkod. Some projects even include life-size sculptures to teach people what to look for. Additionally, they put up signs on busy roads in the Guinea's range to alert drivers of the presence of the cat. Road mortality is one of the biggest threats to the Kodkod's conservation, but the signs let people know to be mindful of wildlife on the road. Thankfully, the younger generations seem to have a more positive attitude towards the cat and broader understanding of its role in the ecosystem. This will hopefully lead to improved and more generalized conservation efforts over time. The guiña, being a charismatic predator, is slowly becoming an icon of Chilean fauna. This is helping overcome negative attitudes towards them. Still, for these communities, protecting poultry continues to be a priority, and local Kodkod conservation efforts need an element of conflict prevention and resolution between cats and farmers. The Kodkod is one of the most amazing secrets of South America, but with so many people working to protect them, we're optimistic that their populations can recover. It still requires a lot of work, so if you can, give them a hand. Or a paw. So, what should we talk about next? Please let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for new episodes every week. Thanks for watching. See ya! Another big thanks to the Guiña Working Group.